Two competing UN Security Council resolutions on Aleppo, Syria have failed to pass after the first was vetoed by Russia and a second failed to receive the minimum number of votes required for passage. The French drafted text also demanded an immediate end to the air bombardment and all military flights over the city, which Russia rejected. Russia's draft, which called for urgent action to separate moderate forces from terrorist elements in the city, only received 4 votes of support.
Those against?
This was Russia's veto of the French draft. Despite 11 countries in favour and 2 abstentions, Venezuela supported Russia's no vote. Then later, a second vote on the Russian draft with only 4 countries in favour, a resounding defeat by failing to muster the minimum 9 votes required for any resolution to pass.
We're participating in one of the strangest spectacles in the history of the Security Council. We have to vote on 2 draft resolutions of the Council, while we are all well aware that neither will be adopted. Given that the crisis in Syria is at a critical stage, when it's particularly important that there be a coordination of the political efforts of the international community, this waste of time is inadmissible.
French appeals for council action blocked by a singular vote.
In 2011, an entire people peacefully rose up against oppression. And for 5 years, despite savage repression, this people is not giving up. This people, which has lived through trials and suffering. Do not leave them with just one choice, that is between an executioner and the terrorism of ISIL and Nusra.
The UK and USA particularly scathing towards Russia.
Normally, I begin my statements in this council with the words, "Thank you, Mr. President." I cannot do that today. Because today, we have seen the 5th veto in 5 years on Syria from you, Mr. President. A veto that has once again stopped this council from creating the unity needed to give the people of Syria any hope for respite from their suffering.
Today was time for the Council to act, to learn the lessons of the recent past. We failed to do that because one of us, perversely the President of the United Nations Security Council, is intent on allowing the killing to continue and indeed participating in carrying it out. It is grotesque.
Russia and Syria also called on certain countries to stop their colonial habits.
While this was a day of high-stakes diplomatic drama in the Council, the stakes on the ground in Syria are much higher, and exchanges across the iconic horseshoe table, however deft or articulate, will do little to end the crisis. When Syria's ambassador took to the floor, Western diplomats staged a walkout. Such are the divisions that now best describe the inability of the international community to act in unison, even when humans are dying in what the UN Secretary-General called worse than a slaughterhouse. Sherwin Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.